Hello everyone, today's video I'll be reviewing Murders in the Rue Morgue. It was directed by Robert Florey, produced by Carl Laemmle Jr., who I mentioned in my previous videos. He produced a lot well-known Universal Monsters horror movies. The screenplay was written by Tom Reed and Dale Van Every, based on the Edgar Allen Poe short story Murders in the Rue Morgue. The movie stars Bela Lugosi, Sidney Fox, Leon Amis, Burt Roach, Brennan Hurst, Noble Johnson, and D.R.C. Corrigan. The movie's about that it takes place in Paris in 1845. Dr. Mirakle demonstrates his theories on evolution using his ape Errol at a carnival med student. Pierre Dupin and his girlfriend Kamel visit and witness Dr. Mirakle's experiment. The audiences don't know the dark secret behind Dr. Mirakle's experiment in his secret laboratory. He mixes human blood in his ape Erik. When 3 prostitutes are found dead because they were injected with a strange substance that is unknown to the authorities. With Universal success with Dracula and Frankenstein, Universal not only made horror movies based on the novels, Universal made horror movies based on Edgar Allan Poe short stories. This is the first one they adapted into an Edgar Allan Poe short story into a movie. Originally, filmmaker Robert Florey was going to direct Frankenstein until Universal turned him down in favor of James Whale. Robert Florey said if he directed Frankenstein, he said this is how he would have directed Frankenstein somewhat. Despite this movie came out at the same time period as Dracula, Frankenstein, the Mummy, it has not reached the same level highly as those movies. In other words, not much of a fan following as the other Universal monster movies. The movie's very German expression inspiration. The set designs look almost identical to the cabinet of Dr. Caligari, and they're really cool looking. And the same with the carnival scenes. Watching this movie, you can point out it has some of the same format elements as the cabinet of Dr. Caligari, but this movie does not even come close or count or being a remake. Similar concept and premise, but different. Lugosi is great in this movie, as this is another one of his good movies outside of Dracula. He's not hypnotic, but still great. Instead, he's a real sick, twisted, sadistic, ruthless, evil, mad scientist. Again, hard to decide and pick which is crazier, Dr. Frankenstein or Dr. Moreau. Just like Dr. Frankenstein, he creates a monster creature and pre-bride of Frankenstein when you think about it. Finding a mate for his creation. Anytime he kidnaps a female victim, the experiment fails because of poor blood types don't match the gorilla Erik, his creation. And because it was the Hays Code, you don't see the brutal torture murders when Dr. Mirakle murders his victims. I love the black shadow shots of Dr. Mirakle. It makes him look threatening, suspicious of him being onto something, that he's being guilty of his crimes he committed. Later on in Bela Lugosi's career, he played a few more movies about apes, like Bela Lugosi Meets a Gorilla in Brooklyn, and Gorilla from 1939. Despite the movie being somewhat outdated to a certain degree, it still holds up at some moments. The torture scenes still hold up very well and are very brutal. That's the highlight of this movie, and Lugosi's performance as Dr. Mirakle. My one minor complaint I have about this movie, it's weird and a little cheap at times, and how there were moments in the movie where they used the real gorilla, while according to my father, it was a chimpanzee they used in certain scenes. And then shots it was a guy in a costume when he kidnaps the girl and climbs the buildings. The gorilla costume does not hold up very well, but I'll take it any day over stupid green screen CGI. This movie was a precursor to King Kong, which came out a year later. And just like King Kong, he carries his mate on buildings, and the gorilla falls off the building and dies. And the same with Caligari too. This movie may not be a classic or highly the same way as like Dracula, Frankenstein, The Mummy, and other Universal monster movies. This one is still a good one. I find some good things in it. Yes, it has its flaws, but I still enjoy and appreciate the film for what it is. Again, the highlights are the set designs, Lugosi's performance, and the torture brutal scenes. But the police investigating random like minor characters is a little pointless, despite that it was in the Poe short story. The other main characters are hit or miss. They're not bad characters, nothing special or memorable about them. What's interesting, this movie was made by Universal, yet you can watch this on YouTube. It's not in the public domain. My advice, give this movie a watch and decide for yourself. You think it deserves more recognition. Before I end this video, I wanted to point it out that the first time I saw this movie, and I have the movie on this Bela Lugosi DVD collection, along with his other like Universal movies like The Black Cat, The Raven, The Invisible Ray, and Black Friday. I'm sure this is on Blu-ray, but I haven't like owned it on Blu-ray yet, so hopefully someday in the future I get this movie on Blu-ray. And I'm not sure if this is also like a Bela Lugosi collection like Blu-ray set with the same movies in this set right here. So that was my review of Murders in the Rue Morgue. Like the video, subscribe to the notification bell to get the latest updates on my YouTube channel. And stay tuned for tomorrow for another horror movie review. See you then.